question for you.
Okay.
If you like smart-ass answers.
Where are we right now?
500 East.
Where are we going?
Well, we're going to this magical place called SEMA.
What?
What? SEMA.
What is SEMA?
SEMA?
For the people that are out there that don't know what SEMA is.
I honestly don't know what the acronym is, but SEMA is like...
Manufacturers Association.
Oh, see, there we go. Brian knows. I love cars. Ever since I was a little kid, I love cars. And SEMA is like the pinnacle of all things automotive, at least in the U.S., and it's in Las Vegas, at the Las Vegas Convention Center. And I forget how many square feet is the whole place?
It's like 1 or 2 million.
Million?
Yeah.
Million.
Million.
It's freaking crazy. It's
150,000
huge.
people will be there.
Dude.
It's crazy.
So yeah, it's like, I don't know, like last year when we went down there, we wanted to see so many different things. And there's really so much stuff, you'll never see all of it.
Yeah, it's really hard to take everything in that is there because you're back and forth between new cars, new concepts.
Oh yeah. Speaking of concepts,
Ford last year,
dude,
their stage,
that was legit, man.
killer.
Ford GT, that was.
Well, and their the unveiling.
Yeah,
That's right.
And they had the when they did the what was it, not the Tonka, but the Hot Wheels F-150.
Yep.
That thing was rad. And we met Chip Foose.
I think Chevy those might be topping Ford this year.
I don't know, because really Chevy didn't do a lot last year.
Yeah,
No,
well,
but there's
they
a
did
new
the
car
Copo.
coming out.
Well, but they had the
What's coming out?
The C8, the Corvette.
That is
Has
true.
it already hit,
Mid-engine Corvette.
has it already hit the ground, or is it still
No, it's out.
real?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not a huge fan of Corvettes. I know Brian loves Corvettes.
No,
Your
well,
cars are pretty, you know.
I
They're
love
but I
it.
do like the direction of the
I
new
respect
C8.
I respect Corvettes, and I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but I really like the C8
What?
just
What?
because it's different.
But it's different, but it's
making
still a
move.
Corvette.
Correct.
It's
but
making a move to compete with the Ferraris.
You know,
It's way different.
You're right. You do have to kind of give it some credit
It's
because,
got
like,
some nice styling to it.
they're trying to compete with the exotics in the market, like
Yeah.
McLaren, like Maserati,
Well,
like.
I think you got to give them some credit
Not
too,
wrong.
because it's like they're willing to try and do things that their fans might not like.
Correct.
It's true.
So,
Now,
Yeah,
one
that-
thing I
that's
found
respectable.
out, there may be an electric Corvette coming out.
really,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
heard about that.
So that
They're working on one.
But
there's innovation and
dude,
it's
like, sorry. When it comes to like electrics, though, like, it seems like everyone's coming out with an electric.
yeah.
I think
like
it's the
everyone.
wave of the future right now.
Because like I was doing some research, like trying to prepare for the show, and there was like Audi, right? They have an e-tron. I don't know much
Yep.
about the e-tron, but
e-tron GT's coming out. It's basically similar to the Porsche Taycan.
and the Porsche Taycan, which is nutty insane if you can afford, what is it, like 200 grand or 150
Well, there's three
grand or
different
whatever.
versions, so it depends which one. It starts at 108, but you can go up to 200 plus, depending which one you want, plus all the accessories.
That's their brand new
Just don't
electric.
get it. Yeah.
They
And
just started production.
It's beautiful, and they've been like, we're in a Tesla, so I just bought a Tesla a couple months ago, and there have been some people who've put a Porsche Taycan against a Tesla Model S,
Yeah.
the P100D with
Right.
Ludacris, and the Taycan. I mean, they're neck and neck.
They
The
are.
Taycan can probably take it, but not by a wide margin. And really, I feel like if you're going to buy a Taycan, like, personally, like, I mean, you're riding this car for the first time. I mean, how do you feel about this car? Like, would you buy a car like this?
Well, I've driven a Model S before, and I was in love. To be honest, having never driven an electric car before and getting in a Model S, it's like nothing I've ever driven before, number one, right?
Yeah, it's true, definitely.
But it's the immediate torque at all ends of the torque spectrum. It's just amazing. And as much as I love gasoline engine cars, there's a lot of great ones out there, and they're fun to drive.
But
I've
do you
driven some
think-
Mustangs, but they don't have that across the whole torque band.
But do you think? I mean, because who's going to spend 150,000? What kind of person's going to spend 150,000 plus on a Porsche? Is it going to be a new guy who's never bought a Porsche before, or is it going to be your existing Porsche owners?
It's your iPhone, your person that buys a brand new iPhone when it comes out. It's that person that
Correct.
wants to be on the cutting edge of technology.
You think they'll buy that over a Model S 100D?
I think if
For the
they're
name
if they're a
brand,
European
yes.
car lover, yes.
Okay.
For the
If
name
they've
brand,
typically owned a BMW or an Audi, they're gonna jump, or maybe they own a Porsche now, a 911.
I think so.
Even if they own a Boxster, doesn't matter. The fact that they own a European sports car, I think
Yeah.
they will jump on the Taycan.
I think they're pretty, but for me, for my money, I
pretty.
wouldn't buy it. If I wanted to buy a sports car, I mean, it would be. I think if I'm buying a sports car for that, it wouldn't be an electric sports car. It would be.
I would buy an electric
A
sports car.
McLaren?
I would buy the new Roadster.
The Roadster's legit.
It's gonna be sick. 1.9 seconds.
It's 1.9 seconds.
1.9.
That's like
1.9.
That's like
Jeez.
neck breaking speed, dude.
It
You've got to like.
keeps up with $2 million and $3 million
Yeah.
and $5 million cars.
It's crazy.
It will beat the Bugattis.
Yeah,
Well,
Bugattis are nuts.
And they've already predicted it's going to have 1.6 gigawatts in the new Roadster.
What?
Oh,
Gigawatts.
wow.
Is it giga or
It's not
jigga?
gigawatt.
Yeah!
Back to the
Jigga,
future.
jigga. Well,
Back to the Future. We're going with.
dude, I love it. I think it's gonna be pretty cool. It's beautiful. It's state of the art. But what about the truck though? Like, I mean, because look at it, like across the board. Because who else is coming off the truck? Rivian's coming off the truck.
Rivian.
Atlas, right? Atlas is
Yes.
coming off the new truck. What else?
I read up on that Rivian, and that truck seems awesome. They've tested it off-road. It can do everything like your Jeep Commander and all those can.
Yeah.
In an electric, and it's got 400 miles of range. The top, they've got 3 models coming out. The top one, 400 miles of range.
But how much of that? I mean,
What's the range on this?
so this one is the S60. It's a 2013. It's not the newest car. I can get about 180 miles in a charge on this car.
But in
The new one,
P100D, you can get 300.
So
310?
the other day they officially on their website it changed to 373
Does it keep
on the new
upgrading
Model
that?
S.
Yeah.
Yeah. And 373 miles. I mean that's crazy. That's plenty. I mean we're going to Vegas right now and it's 370 something miles, and you could probably get there on full charge. You might want to stop once, to take a leak,
Safe, yeah.
but I don't
But
know.
I will say, I do like this car. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Well, I'm glad because
First time I've ever been in a Tesla, and it's really nice.
Well, I know that when we went down there last year, we were looking for like loud, obnoxious cars, and throughout the year when we were doing test vehicles and things like that, we tested a Tesla Model S P85
AMG.
against AMG's SL55, right?
Yes.
And you
And-
still picked the Tesla over the
The
AMG.
Tesla
Dude.
roasted the Mercedes.
It did, and it was
Didn't matter if it was rolling
competition.
start or from a standstill. It did not matter.
I
It didn't
just love
matter
it.
if you were going 35 to 70
Yeah,
or 0 to
you're
6.
right.
Didn't matter. It
I just love that
killed it.
like the electric vehicles now are completely obliterating cars that were once like the top of their game.
Nope.
There's tons of manufacturers that are coming with electric cars. Like, I know for a long time electric cars have been out there. I mean, the freaking Nissan Leaf's been out there for what, like 10 years or something, and it's the most ridiculously ugly car on the planet. I mean,
that's the thing is, like, the electric cars have been around, but they've been hideous. So
Yeah.
it wasn't until really Tesla stepped up their game and they made the Roadster, which a lot of, a number of people were buying that. But then it was the Model S that caught my eye. I remember I was driving to the grocery store and I saw a car hauler full of Tesla S's. And I'm like, what the hell is that car? So I pulled up and I'm like, this is the new Tesla? Okay, game on. Little pricey, but for the time. But everyone is trying to become the next Apple.
I'm glad,
That's true.
I'm glad
Wanna
you
have
brought up
that
price
technology.
though, because there has, like you said, it started out with the lower end, right? You had your Prius as a hybrid, you had your Camry hybrids, you had all those, right? Then they came out with, the Nissan Leaf, but the Nissan Leaf didn't have great range, right? It's pretty
Yeah.
much just a commuter.
it's
vehicle.
about 100 miles. I think they're just under
Well, I
100
think
miles.
starting out it was only like 40 miles or
Really?
60 miles
Oh.
or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now they've got a new one coming out that has a lot more range.
Yeah.
But my point is they were ugly, right? So a lot of people didn't buy them. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because they're ugly.
I almost did before I
know
bought
you
this.
did, but I personally think they're really ugly.
I agree. They're
And
hideous.
I want a cool looking car.
Yeah.
Tesla comes out with these new cars right now, but who can afford $100,000 for a
Not
new
most
Model
people.
S? But what about the Model 3?
Yeah.
Now what about the new Model Y
Oh yeah.
SUV crossover coming out in the next year? Starts at $39,000.
It's pretty crazy.
That's less than a lot of SUVs out on the market right now.
Well, and Hyundai has their new
Hyundai Kona.
Yeah, the Kona E. Is Is it the Kona electric?
Yeah.
That's electric?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't
they
know
are.
that.
No, I don't think all of them are. I think just the Kona electric is.
EV or something like that.
And then so Chevy has their Bolt, which is like it looks like a smart car.
I don't like the Chevy.
And then they have a Spark, which is even smaller.
Yep.
And then Ford is going to have 5 or 7 new models this coming year that are plug-in electric,
Well,
which I think is so dumb.
now Volkswagen though is making
Oh,
a big push
yeah.
into electric. Basically,
Oh, yeah.
I think all of their cars they'll have an electric version
Mhm.
by 2025. The same
Really?
Toyota as well, and Lexus is doing that. I think a bunch by 2030.
I'm
Well,
excited to see the new bus.
It would explain
Oh,
the
electric
Porsche.
bus.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah, if VW's moving over, that would explain why Porsche.
Well,
Yeah,
they're doing like I know that a lot of companies they're going into Europe first, and it's because
Yeah.
they're more widely adopted in Europe.
That's because gas
And
prices
they got
are
a good
so
network
expensive.
of electric chargers
Yeah.
too.
Well, that's the thing is like a lot of people. I feel like I was looking at Ford, and they've got several cars that are coming to market. They have a freaking 4-door car that's based off of the Mustang that's coming out, and it's not hideous. It's a good-looking car,
Well,
and
Mustang's a nice looking car.
it's electric car. But like most of what Ford is doing, and I feel like this is kind of a big mistake, is that they're building plug-in hybrids. So you plug it in, you get like 20, 30 miles of range, electric range, and then your gas engine kicks in.
It might be an appeal though
I
for the market right now.
But I feel
right?
like if you
That
buy
the market
that
isn't
car,
people that are
necessarily
in
ready
between.
for all electric.
it's true.
Yeah.
They're afraid of range, whatever. Maybe they're going to travel.
Well, it's
they're
a-
afraid of what kind of range they're getting in their vehicle. And so I get that. But I think that eventually, and a lot of the car makers are already going there to all electric.
Well, and it's a Ford, so you know you're going to already have to tow it.
It's a
I'm
good
just
point.
kidding. I'm a Ford
It's
guy,
a fair point.
but I gotta say it.
It's the truth.
But tell me this though. So
Fix the repair
I'm not
daily.
sorry.
if you say you're afraid, you're a little bit nervous, you want to buy an electric car, right? And you go buy yourself a Ford plug-in hybrid, okay? And then
Sister almost did.
you drive it for 2 or 3 years. I don't know, maybe a year. What's your next move going to be?
You'll move into the Tesla Model
You'll move
3.
into a full electric car.
Yeah.
So what is it? What
Or
happens?
even me.
What happens to the used market then for those plug-in hybrids? No one's going to want them because by the time people realize how beneficial that battery is, those plug-in hybrid cars are going to be worthless.
Car makers don't care about that though. They think about now. How do I sell a vehicle now?
I
They
don't
worry
know.
about the used market.
I'm incredibly interested. Like I never thought in a million years that I would actually own an electric car. But when I was going and looking for cars, I'm like, what's going to be the best alternative for what I'm currently doing? And when I calculated the fuel prices and versus plugging in, it's a no-brainer.
I'll
Well,
be
and
honest. For me, it's the performance though.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, this will offend a lot of people, and I love a good ass gas. gas.
Yes.
Yeah, I did.
He does.
A gas,
Yeah.
I love a good ass too.
combustion engine car. I do.
Yeah.
Love the sound, and they're piping some sound into electric
Into some cars,
for
yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
but the
Dilemma, great movie.
performance is amazing. It
Well-
puts you back. Some of them, not all of them, not a
Yeah.
Nissan Leaf, but
Well-
a Tesla Model S will put you back in your seat,
I feel
especially
like-
on the P100D.
I feel like some people though, like some people and okay, I was gonna say tree huggers. So, some people buy electric cars or hybrids because they want to save the planet, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like people like
That's
that
not me.
are great. They're great people,
Yeah.
but for so long, electric cars and hybrids in general have been it's been a slow acceptance of those cars because they're kind of silly looking, and only
Well-
people that are willing to like put themselves in an ugly car, they're usually the same kind of people who care more about the environment than I do. Like I didn't buy the electric car for the environment.
Well,
I bought it for looks.
I am not a tree hugger necessarily that way, but the one reason I think it does make sense where we live, Salt Lake City,
Mm-hmm.
is because we're surrounded by mountains. And you know how the inversions get here so bad,
Yeah,
and it's 90% from
from exhaust.
emissions.
Yeah, it's true.
From cars.
90 from emissions, 5% from Vados.
Yeah.
For what?
Barbados.
Methane
Oh,
from Barbados.
Mexican food.
But-
Is that what you're saying?
But here's the thing: is I mean, when you take electric cars, they're fantastic. They are going to be the future. Are they really more economical than gas?
By far.
Even with having to dispose of the batteries, having to
So-
charge everything, you're using more coal, you're
Depending
more
on-
electricity.
Depending on the size of the battery, like your Nissan Leafs and your smaller batteries like that, there's an offset period, and I'll try and find the actual the research that proves this. But there was research done that suggests that after, I think it's about a year and a half, a Nissan Leaf, the carbon footprint that it puts out, because the biggest carbon footprint that's created by Nissan Leaf is through the manufacturer of the car. Gas vehicles, the carbon footprint is partially that, the manufacturer of the car, but mostly it being driven and pollutants put into the air. So a car like this, a car like a Tesla Model S with a bigger battery, is going to take between 3 and 4 years to offset. But after that, it's literally it's like free.
I'll be
So
honest
you're saving.
though, for me, I don't get stuck in that carbon footprint
But
stuff.
some people do, yeah.
I know, I get it. I'm just speaking for me.
Yeah.
There's really two considerations for me that
Mhm.
I would buy an electric car. And it's because, number one, I like the styling of the Model S. I think it's a beautiful looking car. Like the Porsche Taycan, I think it's a beautiful car. Number two, performance.
Oh yeah.
Fast,
It's
man.
it's a whole
It
different car.
is.
Well-
And again, where we live, Salt Lake City, a lot of pollutants in the air, and it's bad in the winter. I mean, it actually, people literally have to stay inside their home. People that are sensitive
Mm-hmm.
to the smog,
red
or
days.
literally can kill them.
We have days that are worse than LA.
Yeah,
I know that some people are kind of nervous about, like, I've talked to a bunch of people this last week as we're, talking about going to SEMA and we're taking the Tesla. People are nervous about buying an electric car because, what do I do when, I need to charge my car and I'm kind of in a panic, right? People have
Yeah.
that anxiety.
yeah.
And it's like, people who drive a gas vehicle, you have in the back of your head, there's certain gas stations that you always kind of gravitate towards. There's gas stations that you go if you're really low, like you stop at a Costco, right?
Right.
Or whatever it is. So you kind of in an electric car, you plan out your favorite gas station, your favorite places to stop and charge.
Well,
So like the other day, I was cruising around by the point of the mountain, and I needed to get a drink, and I pulled into a Maverick, and guess what? Boom, charger.
There you go.
So I pulled over and I charged the car, and like, obviously when you go on road trips, like road trips are no issue at all because there's superchargers like every 50,
but
75
that's only
miles.
for Tesla. What do you
It's
do if you're
true.
going to own a Porsche Taycan?
So if you want a Porsche Taycan, I don't know about that.
You
'cause
don't have that option.
I think with them you have to charge at their specific
You
locations.
do. Now, here's what I would say though, and I've done some research. Porsche is going to build their own network as well. Obviously, they're starting with Europe first. They will make it over here. I think you're going to start to see more and more charger stations, right?
Mhm.
At gas stations,
Mm-hmm.
Porsche is going to build their network. I think a lot of these Volkswagen, whoever, they're going to start building their networks too. And
They're
so
going
as
to
a-
have to because
They're gonna
if
have
not,
to.
gas stations.
They're not going to sell cars.
They're not going to sell the snacks, the Pepsis,
But here's the
anything
other
else. So they
thing.
got to draw people in by having those stations.
Oh, yeah.
And whether it's one station with, kind of like, remember the old chargers? Like
Yeah.
you'd buy them and it come with like 5 or 6 different heads
Yeah.
that would fit. It's probably going to have to be something like that.
Yeah,
to where
it's
they
true.
fit in like
No, they
that.
do have to do that. But one of the really interesting things, though, the new Porsche Taycan can charge to 80% in 15 minutes.
Well, I
so
know
a
that
lot of the new technology now, and
Will
that,
allow that,
you know
yeah.
how it is with technology, it just gets better and better and
It's
cheaper and
true.
cheaper.
Well, I know with me, there's Tesla superchargers. Like when we punch in the address to go to Vegas, it'll tell us all the stops we need to stop
Right.
to charge. But in the event that you do need to charge, like if you get within 20 or 30 miles and you really need to, you need to plug in, there's apps you can actually download, and you can filter by specific charger, like by types of connector.
Right.
And like every single RV park is added on there that I know of.
Well,
And RV parks, whether you might have to pay a little bit,
yep.
but it's
Does it
still
cost-
cheaper than gas.
Does it
Another
cost you down
thing-
when you go to church?
At a supercharger, I don't pay a thing. It's free.
So another thing, though, I've ridden in a Nissan Leaf before, and they show you the range you should be in to get the most.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to say the MPH range, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say between 30 to 50 miles per hour. You stay within that. Don't hit the pedal too hard. You'll be in that range where you're gonna get max. You'll get the max range out of the vehicle, and I like that.
Yeah.
And I think more and more of the electric cars will go to that. And I believe it also has kind of a limp mode, essentially, where if you just drive like at 20 miles an hour and barely touch the pedal, you can get further range out to help you get
Really?
to that next
Yeah, I didn't know
station.
that.
Yeah.
I don't know if this car has that or not. I know that, like if you are traveling to like we're traveling today, and if I'm going too fast, because obviously the faster you go, the more you're pulling off the battery.
Yeah.
But it'll tell you, a message will pop up on the screen telling you that you need to slow down to a certain speed in order to get to your destination with enough charge.
Right.
And it'll tell you how long you need to stop and charge. And I usually stay a little bit longer. I like having a margin of error just in case there's a headwind that affects us. And this car does have an automatic lowering, which is part of the tech package that this particular car came with. So that when you get up to highway speeds, the car goes down lower so that it's more aerodynamic to get you more.
So this will tell you when you need to stop.
Yeah. Right
It
there.
has a built-in wife.
23 minutes.
It doesn't have built-in wife. It's more like a mistress.
Nice.
She kind of
Tesla's
She's a
a woman.
chirping
she like
ear.
she hides away so that you don't have to see her. But when you need her, you just push the button.
Just push the button. Push the button and she wakes up.
Well, I'm excited to freaking go to SEMA because like I know that we've been looking at cars for years and years and years. We're car geeks for sure, and I really believe that the electric cars are the future, and I believe that people are going to be forced within the next 5 years to switch to electric, and I really want to prove that wrong. Let's see if we can prove it wrong.
I think 5 might be a little
Bet
early.
5 years. 5
I-
years.
I don't think it'll happen in 5 years.
Maybe 10 though.
And the
Okay.
reason
10 probably more. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm the odd man out, and I will win.
I would say 10 years.
What's the bet?
I think force is a strong word, right? I mean, you're always going to have gasoline engine cars around,
Yeah.
and a
Kind
lot
of.
of the manufacturers are going to sell both. Even within the next 5-10 years, we'll have both. But
you're-
Volkswagen predicts that their electric vehicles will outsell their gasoline engine cars.
Well, and-
so I agree. At some point, we will get there.
And new car manufacturers right now are struggling to sell their existing cars.
Yeah, they are.
And so they're dumping the R&D into the electric market. I
Yep.
mean, I don't know. I believe they'll be forced. We're going to see what's at SEMA. I really hope to see a whole bunch of electric cars at SEMA because it would make a whole lot of cars obsolete.
So one of the things we haven't talked about, and would be my concern buying electric, is more like reliability. How
Yeah.
long will it last? What kind of warranty does it have? If I own it 8 or 10 years, is it going to be out of warranty? Am I going to be forced to pay for a $5,000 electric pack? Or I don't know.
Honestly, so as far as Tesla goes, I believe Tesla from the very beginning wanted to make sure that their buyers were confident in what they were buying.
Right.
So they have an 8-year unlimited mile warranty on, I believe, on their battery pack itself. There's also a warranty. I want to say it's right around that. It's either 6 or 8 years on the drivetrain. So on they call it your drive unit is what it's referred to as. So they don't feel like they want to make sure that people feel confident buying their stuff, because obviously when you're buying a brand new something that costs 40 grand, 50, 80, 100 grand. I mean, I wouldn't want to buy something that I didn't feel confident in.
Right.
And the batteries themselves, like this battery is, so we've got 60,000 miles. It's 6 years old, and it's only lost 2% of its original range.
Wow.
So I feel like that's pretty good. I mean,
It's really good.
I don't think if you had an
You don't
electric
get that out
or-
of any other.
you wouldn't have that in a
lithium-ion
gas
powered.
car.
No.
You would lose 2% probably the first month.
I'm just speaking in terms of lithium-ion technology.
Well, and I know
itself.
that it's definitely changing, and that's another thing is like when it comes to the charging, that also affects how the battery maintains over time. Is how often you're filling all the way to full. because you're not supposed to. You're supposed to fill, like when we started this road trip, I went all the way to full. You're supposed to go to 80% and take it down to 20 or 30% before you charge back to 80. When I top off the battery all the way to the very top, I'll lose several miles, like 5 or 7 miles within the first mile of me going, because it's not happy sitting at that 100% range. But as it goes down, you get more range out of it, and it's kind of weird. But so the more you charge all the way to full, the faster you're going to deplete the longevity of your battery. But I feel like these are questions that people think about but don't ask, and I'm glad we're having this conversation because
like for me, like with a comparison between a combustion engine and an electric car, like that was always thought. It's like what happens when the battery goes out? Because in a combustion engine, you can always take it apart and fix it. There's always that ability to do that.
Yeah, and
But
you can.
With an electric car, you have to bring it back to the manufacturer for them to replace it.
For now, because it's new enough, I believe that's the case. You still have to go to a Tesla certified repair center, which I would rather them do it anyway.
Yeah. I mean,
but the battery itself in this car, when it was new, it was like it was over 30 grand. If I wanted to replace the whole battery right now, it's about 10. I don't know what the engine is, or the motor. I don't know what the motor is, but I know someone who's had to replace their motor under warranty because they're really hard on their car, and it was a 2-hour job. And most of the costs for repairing a motor is labor.
yeah.
So if you're replacing or rebuilding an engine, you're thousands of dollars, and it's all in labor.
It's like the old Lego toys when you build them up. Just pop out the engine and then
2 hours, it's shocking. It takes way longer to do that than, or that's like changing tires.
One of the things, though, about a gasoline engine car, to be honest, there's a lot of things that can go wrong, right?
It's true.
Your fuel pump can go out. The ignition doesn't work right. I mean, all these things can go wrong.
blinker fluid leaks everywhere.
Blinker fluid, yeah.
Probably
that's
blinker fluid, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and I know that, like with the motor in this car, it only has like 8 parts to it, so there's not a lot of moving pieces.
Right.
So they're not going to break down as often. And the battery pack is supposed to last 300 to 500,000 miles.
Wow.
And the new ones are supposed to be as much as 1 million. So like, if let's pretend you bought a car that's 90,000 and it lasts you 10 years, 300,000 miles. I mean, or 500,000 miles. That's a lot cheaper than buying three $30,000 cars that last a third of less than that. So plus they're nicer cars.
Before long, it'll be just like the Jetsons. They'll be flying.
Maybe.
All right, speaking of Jetsons, all right, we're going to talk about the future. So,
Oh boy.
what's the electric car you guys are most excited about that's coming out? I mean, money, no issue. All right, just dream.
Electric
hypercar,
car.
whatever. Is anything
Electric
you've
car or
seen-
any car?
Electric,
Any car or
electric,
Honestly,
electric hypercar, supercar,
I'm
whatever.
most excited about what Tesla has yet to unveil, their Tesla
Yeah,
truck.
I mean,
the truck.
The truck is the main thing for me.
I'm
now,
talking about hypercars, guys. You're changing the subject.
I don't want to hype. I really don't. Like, this car is plenty because dude, this car has 7 seats. I have 2 seats in the back there for my kids.
I'm not saying you're gonna buy it. I'm just saying you kind of drool.
I
You
don't-
grew up
I
looking
would-
at Lamborghini Countach.
I would pick a Bugatti.
Beautiful car. You can
If I had
one.
if I had money to buy a supercar, I would buy a freaking Bugatti. I would not be buying it. I would not be
You're
buying an
talking
electric.
Yeah.
Dude, you're crazy.
Electric.
I would buy electric.
You're more of the electric guy.
I
But
am.
for me, I would go with that truck. Tesla
Rim-X
truck.
C2,
From
beautiful
the
looking
pictures.
car.
I agree.
Dude, it's so pretty.
Yeah.
And no one even knows what the hell it looks
Which one?
like. It's all speculation.
And 50 grand. 40,
Which
50
one?
grand.
The Tesla truck.
Oh,
Yeah,
All the
range,
photos are
all that.
speculation. No one knows.
Those
kind of
are
like
real
the
photos?
Rivian truck, man.
They're not legit. They're fake photos.
No.
Yes. Nobody knows. It has not been unveiled. All they unveiled was a line of light.
That's what Epstein known.
That's
That's
it.
exactly what he knew. That's why he died. He had the Tesla
I had to
pictures.
take him out.
Oh my God.
He had all the Tesla pictures. And they wiped him out.
Oh man. I don't know. Honestly, if I had to buy an electric car, I would buy the Roadster.
The Roadster.
I would buy the Roadster.
I have to agree with you there. Because $250,000, actually $200 once they get past the Founders Series models. $200,000.
Yeah.
For a car, it goes 0 to 61.9.
It's a ton of money by comparison to like this or like a Honda Civic.
Yeah, relatively
But-
speaking.
But to a supercar, it's cheap.
there's a lot of Lamborghinis
Yeah.
and Ferraris out there that can't go near that fast right now.
Think about it, like, because we know people who have Lamborghinis and Ferraris and they can't touch a freaking
Plus
Tesla
they break
Roadster.
down all the time.
Yeah,
I
that's
love
true.
them. Don't get me wrong, but
They do break down
they
constantly.
break down.
That's-
You sink a lot of money into Ferraris.
That's another thing too. Is like when you buy a supercar, like the price tag of the car is just the price tag of the car.
Right.
Like how much was it to do an oil change on what was it?
20 grand.
On the
to do an
Bugatti.
oil
On the
change on a
Bugatti.
Bugatti was
Chiron.
20
26
grand.
20 grand.
Ugh. It makes me want to like cry.
That's a car right there.
It's, I want to
Yeah.
weep, man. Like, so you've got to have money. You can't just buy the
Oh,
car and
yeah.
have that be it. Like,
Of course it's a
you've got to
$500
keep dumping
car,
money
but-
into it.